put this in the chat yesterday in the rundown. We're going to do this last. We're going to do this now in the 15 minutes before Darren Smith joins us. But a week ago to the day, LeBron became the NBA's all-time scoring leader. And eventually, when he retires, there will be a statue built of him, most likely outside of Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And I got in this conversation with Anthony and Earl and some friends over the weekend. What do you guys think the moment that will be encapsulated by this statue will be?
Bull, you
or what should it be?
I think it's the block from the I know that's not what he's most known for.
Right.
But I think that's the most iconic moment. The block
on the
that
court
led to them winning the championship.
Jay, do you have any ideas?
I think it's for statue purposes.
Yeah.
I think it's the tomahawk dunk. I
Yeah,
think it's this. I think there's a way to memorialize the block in other ways, and I think they'll do more after he retires. I think there's other ways to do that because that is the most iconic moment, certainly in Cleveland. But his overall career, I just think for
What do you got?
statue purposes, it's a
I
dunk.
think they did too.
Well, you got
Absolutely. The powder toss.
Oh, the powder
The
toss.
powder, run
Yeah.
back, right?
Yeah.
Like the powder. And if you could do some iron powder in the
No,
side.
so I thought about that too, but how about this? At the top of, he's going like this. At the very top of his head, there's a very small hole, and there's a back door to the statue, and it allows them to fill the statue with powder. Wow. So
And then-
what happens is there's a button on the statue, you push it, and there's a 10-second delay. So you get 10 seconds to get into position to make your selfie picture.
This dude.
And then all of a sudden,
It's like the Bellagio fountains.
a
that go
huge
off every-
puff of powder goes up into the air.
Dude,
But then the statue's covered in powder.
It will be, but that's okay. LeBron was covered in powder sometimes too.
I ain't gonna lie, he be having some good ass ideas, bro. Like he'll take your idea and then throw that little cherry on top. He's like, damn it, I had it. I had an 89.
Can
I
you
got a
imagine how
B
cool
plus.
that would be?
That'd be
if you,
cold.
If you could take a picture
That'd be
of
cold.
LeBron going like that, and there's actually powder in the picture.
I said the only thing better is that you gotta make somebody put a quarter in them for them making them to happen. Like quarter.
So here's another thing too, because that's my number one.
Yeah, I
is
like
the
that.
powder.
That
toss.
That was when I told you, if you guys didn't
That's
say
cold.
it, Anthony had the right answer. That was what Anthony said.
Oh, that's what his was too.
dirty.
Anthony was spot
So
on with this one.
I like Bulls though, and so here's another marketing ploy around that. We're gonna rename the pavilion between Progressive and Rocket Mortgage the Block. It's gonna be called the Block because it's square.
Oh goodness.
And we're going to have statue of LeBron and the block. That's going to be the centerpiece of that pavilion space. But there's also other iconic moments in Cavs history, LeBron James's career, and in specifically the 2016 series. You could make that like the Indians have their sort of garden of statues and the Yankees have their Monument Park. You could actually put other statues and other pieces in that block.
Come on, Kyrie. Stop being bad, bro.
Yeah, come on back.
Stop being bad. Just
wanna-
don't say nothing for 4 years.
wanna
Because we got
retire
the
that
block
number.
pavilion, then we got the shot pavilion.
Yeah.
I'm seeing all kind of sliders and all kind of
about-
just pulling up. Come
How
on.
about a statue of JR throwing soup on somebody?
this guy?
Chicken tortilla.
Jay, this actually
JR
your-
will have his shirt off.
This is your best idea yet. And I do think JR should be immortalized with the soup throwing statue. There should be the block. The powder is
Yeah.
the right thing. Kyrie's shot. There has to be some other stuff that
You gotta
Tristan
get the-
Thompson doing.
LeBron yelling at Kevin Love, maybe?
Well, there's a lot of those.
There's a lot of ideas you could do, but I do think for the statue. I mean, there's never been like an interactive statue like
Ever.
that I can think of.
Ever.
And, now granted, somebody once a week is going to have to go pump powder into the back of this statue.
And they're gonna have to wipe that boy down.
Yeah, well,
It's
you know
called
what?
Mother
Here's the
Nature,
other
Jay.
thing.
It just rains
Here's the other
powder.
thing. Inside the statue, there's an air compressor hose. And so when they put the powder in it, they just pull that air compressor hose out and
You know what they should do
This is
at the
beautiful.
Guardians Park
This
is put
beautiful.
a statue of Chris Perez and his dog smoking pot.
and Trevor Bauer working on a drone.
Yeah, that's right. And throwing the ball. In
Throw the ball, yeah.
You see, this is why this is nothing gonna happen. They was
Don't be disgracing the best run team in this
Look,
town.
see,
They've
that's
had
why-
their little moments, but that is by
Hey,
far the best
y'all had
organization in
Joe Bush on
town.
the field. I don't got no problems with the Guardians. I don't say nothing bad about
No,
y'all.
I love the Guardians, but it's really much making fun of Chris Perez.
Yeah, I know.
His dog's named to order pot. That was great.
You funny.
Wait, what's that story? I'm not familiar.
Oh, yeah, that's before your time.
Google it.
He
And their closer back in the day.
had ordered pot delivered to his house, but it was addressed to his dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sucks.
Not the smart. I'm sure he was high when he did it.
That sucks.
Hey, man.
It's a tough look.
I'm going to send this to my dog. The dog ate my homework.
Speaking of pot,
the
we could
dog
put
ordered my dope.
Josh Gordon and Berea smoking a joint.
Yep.
We got Peyton Hillis in a secret agent uniform.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Is Peyton Hillis okay, by the way? Has he recovered?
He's doing better.
Yes.
He's doing much better. Yeah.
Put Billy
He's out of the
Manziel.
ICU.
Billy
was the last
Manziel,
he's updated.
definitely. Floating on a duck.
Should there
or
be a
on
statue of
whatever it is.
the homeless man who told Jimmy
That's right.
to draft?
Yeah,
Manziel?
I think
Immortalized?
he gets immortalized.
We have Baker running for the police.
Man.
That was
There's also
Oklahoma.
Johnny Manziel
That was
with the fake
Oklahoma.
glasses.
There are enough vacant spaces open downtown. Someone could do a wax museum,
Oh, yeah.
but it's a parody of all the terrible Cleveland sports moments. So, you could just do wax figures of Ernest Biner and the football coming out.
Yep.
And all of our other tragedies.
Red Right 88.
Jose
Red
Mesa.
Right 88.
Brandon Whedon getting stuck under the flag.
I would spend
the
$10
block,
to go through that.
That actually, a flag should be the roof, so it's just shaded at all times. And there's just a giant Brandon Whedon under there.
Oh, my
Poor
God.
Brandon Whedon.
Yeah, we've
Oh,
had
my
some moments,
God.
haven't we?
Yeah.
It's been,
With our Cleveland sports
It's
teams.
been the best.
All right, so Cavs, get on that. We want
Yeah.
that statue with powder coming out, and the that is his iconic pose.
Yeah.
Like if you really think about
Yeah.
the picture of LeBron, it is the
I'm trying to think, like the Shaq, it's the dunk in L.A.
Dirk's the
him.
fadeaway they just unveiled. in
Dirk's the
Dallas.
fadeaway.
that's appropriate.
It's a great looking statue.
Yeah.
Very good looking statue.
I still think it's gonna be a tomahawk dunk, but I can't complain if it's the.
Yeah, the powder.
That
Is
a
it
good
is it
call.
MJ the iconic MJ
yeah,
pose?
it's
Yeah,
the-
I think it is.
The
the
foul
the
line
jump
dunk?
man, isn't it?
I think it's the Jumpman logo.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
And Kareem's the skyhook.
Appropriate.
Staples.
other-
They've got
Magic
like,
is the no look pass. I don't know if it is
Magic's
or not,
no look,
but it
yep.
should be.
they've got like
Should
10
be.
statues outside Staples.
Bird? I don't
it's
even
incredible.
remember.
Yeah.
What is Bird? That's a good
Bird would
question.
probably be jacking up
Just
an
a
awkward
shot,
three.
jump shot, yeah.
Yeah.
What
Larry
was that-
Bird is Larry Bird taking a jump shot from behind his head.
Yeah.
I just saw a clip the other day of a game. I don't remember this. Larry played an entire game shooting left-handed.
Yes.
And scored like
Yes.
40 because he said he was saving his right hand for the Lakers. And
That's
then they
crazy.
and then they beat the Lakers.
That's crazy.
as well, like 2 nights later.
Oh, my
God. It just was circulating a couple of days ago. And it's like all the clips of him shooting jump shots left-handed, layups left-handed, played the entire game left-handed because he said
It's
he
a
was
true
saving
story.
his right hand
on that
for the
topic,
Lakers.
Larry Bird, for me, he was always the most unexpected superstar
Absolutely.
ever.
Yes.
Because even guys, the culture of the NBA at that point was the superstars were all your athletes. They were a certain mold, and then this dude, the hick from French Lick, comes out there, and you watch him. And it looks like he's warming up in combat boots. His feet are heavy.
He'd be the last dude picked at a pickup game.
He would.
The last dude
and then the
picked.
game starts, and you're like, wait, what? he just told that guy what he was going to do, and he did it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
I don't know that there's been another player in sports that was a more unlikely superstar, like top 10 in his game.
Jason, before you answer that,
Tom Brady. He was a sixth-round
I
pick.
just found
Yeah, but Brady looks.
He didn't coming out of college.
No, naked, especially with
Yeah.
that shirt. Oh.
Okay, so I just looked up that left-handed game.
Yeah.
It's even crazier than I remembered. He finished the game with 47 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists. According to the box score, or according to the Indy Star, who went back and did a full article on that, he scored 20 points left-handed, all from within 10 feet. He made 3 3-pointers, 2 with his left hand, 1 with his right.
Oh my
but the
God.
critical 15-footer late in regulation to send it to overtime was right-handed. So when it mattered, he went back to his right hand.
he went back to the
Yeah.
money.
He did score
But
over
you know
30
what?
points left-handed, though.
What's great about that is whoever was defending him wasn't sure what he was going to do.
Absolutely.
At the end of the game, is he going to go with his
Who were they
right?
playing against?
They beat the Portland Trail Blazers 120 to 119 in overtime, and his quote, as Jason said, "I'm saving my right hand for the Lakers. Y'all aren't nothing."
That is so.
That's amazing.
What?
Imagine if somebody said that today.
sense.
And then he goes
and his smack
for
talk was
47.
The best. He was elite. Ask anyone. He was
Yep.
elite.
Well, we know it
Smack talker.
because for some reason on Twitter, there's an Athletic article from like a year ago about Larry Bird's trash talking that keeps popping up on everybody's timeline.
Oh, that's
so
how good
good.
we are.
Didn't he say at the three-point shooting contest, he walked in and said, which one of you guys finished second?
Second. He didn't even take off his warm-up. He
was
shouted
right.
his warm-up.
Who was fighting for second place? And you know what? He was a product of just ridiculous hard work. You know, I can picture him at 11 on a dust bowl somewhere in French Lick
With no
with
net.
one light bulb hanging outside and just standing there with no net, just draining them one after another, chasing his own rebounds.
Yep.
And just, you know, a product of somebody that wanted it so badly. I'm sure he had a million people along the way say, Larry, it's not going to happen.
Right.
It is not going to happen.
And there's also some people that God just reached down and touched them and gave them abilities that, like him and Steph, I don't care how many threes you shoot in your drive, it's going to help. But at some point, it's just natural ability to put that ball in the basket.
Yeah, you're right.
I do not have.
My neighbor growing up, massive NBA fan. He's a huge Celtics fan, so he's a little biased. But he swears Larry Bird was the best basketball player he had ever seen. And he's like, I know Michael won more. I know people were more athletic. But as far as pure basketball goes, all encapsulating. And maybe LeBron, I haven't talked to him in a while. Maybe LeBron has since surpassed him.
Right.
But he would die on the hill that Larry Bird was the single best basketball player he ever saw.
It's a
And I
shame.
didn't watch Larry live, so I can't compare. But
Back problems cut his career short.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
Especially toward
and
the
that was
end.
a shame, too, because
Yeah. He should have had another. Not only did it erode his last couple of years, he should have had I don't remember how old he was when he retired, but he should have had another 3 or 4 years after that.
he's an interesting guy, too, man. He, you know, when he initially went to Indiana, and he and Bobby Knight were like oil and water.
Yep.
And he transferred to Indiana State. And
Play with a
I
bunch of
was
bums.
really young then. I was like 10 or 11 years old. But I remember my dad, who followed college basketball very closely, and knew of Larry's legend already, even though it was nowhere near what it became.
Right.
But he said, if there's a guy who could take an absolutely obscure school like Indiana State and put them on the map, this is the guy. Now, I don't think he would have predicted that they were going to make it to the NCAA championship game, but it was just insane how throwing one player into the mix just
Changed everything.
That was it.
Yep. He was also a hell of a coach and GM. Like
Yeah, like he.
I'm surprised he didn't stick with one of them longer.
I just don't think. I think he just lost. I shouldn't say that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, most superstar players like that don't have the patience to be a coach.
I know Magic, when he tried it, came out and said, I don't relate to these guys. All they're interested in, this was early phone days.
Yeah.
He's like, all they want to do is stare at their phones. I don't have time for that.
When Byron was here, he told a great story of Magic taking Vlade Divac's phone and throwing it against the wall because he couldn't get his attention. He was so enraged, he just grabbed it and threw it against the wall and broke it. And they just don't. Those elite, transcendent players, the game comes easier to them, and they just don't have the patience with some of these other people. But Larry was a great head coach and a great GM.
Yeah.
There's very few great players in any sport, especially recently since the money has gotten big.
Yeah.
That are great coaches.
Well, I think partly
it
your point, the money.
Yeah.
The commitment time-wise that it takes, particularly in the NFL, but in all sports, they're all working their tails off. They're all set financially. I'm sure Magic was like, wait a minute, how much am I making to do this? And I just made that in 2 days at my movie theaters. I don't need this.
Right.
I'm gone.
That's exactly right.
So it is tough it's going to have to be somebody who's super competitive and isn't doing it for the money. They're doing it to scratch that itch of trying to win something.